Hello, Deck It Out DIYers. Welcome to our August tiered tray DIY subscription box. So this is our tiered tray. You get all of the pieces to decorate your tiered tray for the upcoming season or holiday. And our tray for August is sunflowers. Sunflowers are a great transition into all of things fall. So in your kit, you will have, each of these will be packaged or strand wrapped so that you should have all of the pieces. And I would encourage you to lay it out so that you can make sure you have everything you need. There should be 5 sunflowers with the dots. You will have this twine to go with it because you can use this as a tie to wrap around one of the trays. You'll have 3 or 4 parts for the sunflower. Spread happiness, you'll have a piece of twine for that, and 5 wood balls, which we'll talk about how to paint those. You'll have your sunflower. You pick multiple pieces here. Make sure you have all your letters. The window, which will look like this, and then you have this U-shaped piece that lays on top. We'll glue that on. You'll glue this rectangular piece over the top so that when you do glue your set of 3 sunflowers, they will kind of rest inside. Okay, there is Shine Like a Sunflower down here. It is a framed cutout, and then the fresh cut. You will also have one stand that goes together like so. And then you will have one kickstand, which this gets glued on the back of one of the signs. So I would encourage you to kind of set up your tray and decide where you want this. So you will glue the rectangular piece onto, pretend my hand is the board, glue that onto the board, and then this quarter circle will go right in, and then your project will stand on your shelf or next to your shelf. Okay, so you'll get those pieces. If you have our tray from last month, you have you received 2 of each of these. So these can be reused. That's why I don't paint mine. They can be reused from tray to tray. So if you need more, I would look at your kit from last month. We also are including 4 paint colors: brown, gold, yellow, and white. These are acrylic. We use acrylic paints. These are house paints. But feel free to get different colored paints if you would like. And then you will have a wide variety of white sponges, one of our detail brushes, which we will use probably for some of the details, but also to hold your beads on when you paint. We are including a couple of the gold sponges to paint the backgrounds. And I always like to have on hand baby wipes and an X-Acto knife because I just never know when I will need it. We are also giving you the glue as well. All right, so now that you've taken your inventory, you made sure you have all your pieces, you can really just dive in and start painting. I'll take you through a couple of pieces of painting techniques and then you can get started. We're excited to see how you paint and create your tiered tray decor this month. All right, I want to take you through painting this project for a few reasons. There is some engraved writing here. We have multiple smaller pieces here, and we have a layered piece here. So we're going to touch on a lot of techniques and ideas that will help you paint your project. If you have painter's tape around the house, or you have, I will try to include that with your kit, and hopefully it's still sticky for you. But I like to take the letters that are free-flying, you know, not connected, or the small pieces, and stick them down to the tape so that the tape holds them while I'm painting them. Okay, so that's gonna be my first step, is to lay these down so that I can better paint them. Okay, these ones should be fine. I might want the circle on there. All right, So to paint this, I'm gonna paint this a white background. So I will put some paint on my dabber, pull some of it off, and we always stress less is more. Okay, so when you just dab lightly, and I want you to just dab lightly around this engraved part. And the reason being is that you want that to stay shown in your design. So I am not dabbing hard, and I don't have a lot of paint on my sponge, as you can see. Now you could come back with a marker and fill it in more if you want it to stand out. I'm just gonna take my X-Acto knife and run it down these lines to make it stand out a little more. Okay, so you never know when you want an X-Acto knife on hand. You could also use a toothpick. Okay, so I'm gonna just be really aware of those engraved lines when I dab. When I dab these down here, I'm not so concerned because these are just the outlines so that I know where to put the letters, so I don't have to stress about, are they lined up, are they centered? Okay, so I just am dabbing my paint on. I'm going to paint to my likeness till I'm happy with the coverage, and then let this dry. All of these projects are lasered. So they're created on a laser, and what that means is it burns the edges, or it burns these engraved lines. So the good thing about that is you do not have to paint the edges unless you want to. Okay, so don't feel that you have to paint the edges of your tiered tray. Only paint them if you want to. Okay, so you'll finish painting this, and I'll show you the finished project when I'm done. For these words, I'm going to use brown. So fresh cut, I'm gonna do brown. So the same idea, take your sponge, dab it off to the side. You can hold on to the tape and just dab. You do not need a lot of paint for these projects, and especially for the cutout words. Okay, this covers really well. And sometimes I even pick up from my dab spot, okay? I'm also gonna dab this circle because this is the circle to the inside of the sunflower, and I want that brown. Okay, and then I was thinking I might get a little crafty on here, and I might try to do a little ombre. I'm gonna see how we do. Okay, so one thing that I'm noticing with the yellow is that it's not being as bright as I would like it. So if you want it brighter, base coat your letters or your project piece that you want brighter, base coat it in white, and then paint over it. And look at that. See the difference? Much brighter. Might have switched these. No, I think I did them right. Okay, now it's a subtle difference, but I kind of like it. Now if I wanted a little bit more of a difference, I could add a little bit of a brown to the bottom. That's kind of cool too. Now remember, this is paint, so you can paint over it if you do not like it. So I would encourage you to play with your colors a little bit, to try to do some blending if you want. If you like how this one looks better than this one, I would base coat your sunflower white as well. And again, I'm just gonna lightly do it because these lines you want in there. You want those details in there. So I'm just lightly brushing this on. I'm not dabbing, but I'm also not pushing hard. I'm just kind of getting some of the paint off, and I'm not applying a ton of paint, okay? There's not a ton of paint on there. But then I will just start working my paint in, and maybe I want a little bit of that brown on this edge because that's where the spot is, right? The inside is gonna be glued on there. So I'm gonna work some brown in so it's not such a difference, but that's just how I wanna do it. So I'm really excited to see how you play with your colors and how your sunflowers turn out. I'll check back with you once I have painted this entire project, and then we'll talk about gluing on. Okay, once you have all of your pieces painted, you can take your glue and you can start assembling. Okay, so the sunflower will go in the middle. You don't need a ton of glue, but you definitely need enough that you think it will hold it. It is super glue. It will glue your fingers, so be careful. I'm just adding a little bit of glue to the back, and then I'm gonna drop it on where I feel it's best. The really nice part about these pieces is that they are etched in, so it takes all the guesswork out of where do I place these to make sure they're in the correct spot. So we're going to just glue down all of these pieces, and then your first project will be all set to go. There is no secret or tips and tricks to this part except for doing it very carefully and lining them up. Okay, one of the other projects I want to walk you through before we paint all of the projects is the spread happiness, and it has the hole here, so you attach the twine with the beads. So for this one, I would recommend painting the base, painting your letters using that tape if you can, and painting your beads, and then we'll assemble. So to paint the beads, I would put them on, you can do them a couple different ways. You can put them in a plastic bag with paint in it and kind of smear it around. You can add a little bit of water to that as well. Or you can put them on this detail brush, and you can grab your sponge of whatever colors you want and then spin it as you dab. Okay? And this paint does come off your hands, but it's not as friendly to come off your clothes. So I don't usually mind getting it on my hands when I paint. And then this way I can ensure that all sides, the top and the bottom of the bead were painted. And then I just dab it on the top right there. And I'm not gonna paint, I might do a pattern, but I don't feel like I need a second coat, but take a look, and if you need a second coat, then just grab it, put the bead back on your detail brush here, and then do your second coat. Okay, so paint your beads, paint your base, and then we'll put it together. For this one, you're gonna have to be a little bit more careful. You have 3 letters that are free that have to be placed carefully, and then a connected the happiness and the S-R-E-R together, which makes it easier, a little bit easier to place some of your other letters that are not attached. Okay? So we'll paint these up, and then I'll show you how I do my twine and attach it to this spread happiness project. Okay, so I've painted all my pieces, and now I need to assemble. So you'll take your twine, and if you want to push both pieces of twine through to put the balls on that, you'll probably have enough for that. But otherwise what I'm going to do is I'm going to just tie it in a knot, simple knot here. And tie it one more time, so kind of give it a double knot. I don't expect anyone to really be playing with it or anything, but then I know it's secured. And then I'm gonna leave it like that for now. And then I will thread on my beads. And I did gold, yellow, brown, and then yellow, gold as my pattern. But these would even be cute if you wanted to add polka dots, or if you wanted to add a little distressing, you know, add some of the brown to those yellow ones. But I was just thinking that this is, it says spread happiness. So this is also just a nice reminder that, and maybe you'll use this when you're not using your sunflower tray. Maybe you'll put it, you know, hanging out of a plant pot, or maybe you'll rest it on a shelf somewhere as a reminder to spread kindness, or sorry, happiness. And so I just wanted to make it a little bit more neutral. So I'll take that and then I will tie my knot, and I will double knot it at the bottom to ensure that the beads do not fall off, especially if you have young kids in the house. You want to make sure you keep tabs on these pieces. And then I'll trim this off if I feel I need to. I kind of don't really mind that right now. So let's leave that for a second. To glue this on, I would start with the large connected piece. Okay, so start with the happiness. And again, like we did before, just add glue. Kind of spread that around into most parts of the cut out word and letters. Okay, and then you'll lay that down in the backer board. Okay, and then push that down. And then just make sure you get the correct letters in the correct spot. So SP, put P as your next letter. And I'm gonna just fit this in. It's kind of just stuck to my finger right now, there. SPRE. You can see the A kind of has an outline right here. So we'll drop that on there. And this dries glue. The glue dries clear, sorry. So I'm not too finicky about I'm pushing it a little bit. I drop it on and I push it a little bit to get it set in place. And then my last letter is the D. All right, so these were the two projects that I kind of wanted to take you through because we had the engraved part. So you will have the engraved pieces on these small sunflowers. On this one, you're gonna just paint all the pieces and then piece them on, glue them on. The engraved behind the letters is only there as a guide so that you know where to put your pieces. Okay, so you can paint all of your pieces and then assemble. Remember, for the window, paint your window, paint one or two of the sides of this U, and that's because when you paint, you add a little bit of thickness. So paint it, glue it down, paint it, glue it down, and then you can put some glue on the back of these sunflowers, and then you can glue them where you would like them to rest. And then you do have the insides for those cute sunflowers. Okay, so all of the pieces for the projects we should be able to paint and glue and assemble, and I'm excited to see your completed projects. Happy painting! Okay, Deck It Out DIYers. Here is the completed projects from our tiered tray for the month of August. So you'll see that I did stage it for you this time. I put the sunflowers around the top. I have my signs staggered around and the beaded garland off to the side. So show us on our page. Share with us what you made. I am so excited about this tiered tray file, and I hope you had a great time creating it. And if you see a little sneak peek over here, that's Mr. Gnome. He matches so well with the tiered tray this month. So thanks for joining me again for another month of our tiered tray surprise Deck It Out box, and I will see you in the group, and I will see you again next month.